Hi everyone, we're going to go over the Unit 6 mid-unit assessment. So for the first question, it was asking you to factor using the greatest common factor. So that was kind of the tricky part with number 1. So even though letter A would have correctly gotten you your answer, 32x plus 24, it was not the greatest common factor. You had to actually use B, which was 32x plus 24. So B was the correct answer. The next one, you're going to do 25 times x, and you're going to get 25x. And then 25 times 1/5. And you had access to a calculator, so 25 times 1/5 is 5. All right, Mario leased a car for 39 months, and those monthly payments were $115. So he did 39 months times $115 because those monthly payments each month was $115. Then the miles were priced at 20 cents per mile, so plus an extra 20 cents per mile. The total that was spent on the lease was $4,997. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is multiply that 39 times 115. And I get $4,485 plus the 20 cents per mile, and that's going to equal $4,997. The next step is to subtract off the amount I paid for the lease. Remember, leasing a car is like borrowing it from the dealership. You're going to return it at the end. So I'm going to subtract, and I get $512. So $512 was the overage that I spent on the miles. So I'm going to divide by 2/10, or the 20 cents per mile. And I find out that he went 2,560 miles over his lease agreement. Emilio will solve the following equation in 2 steps. So he's going to do 2 steps, and they want to know which number should be subtracted from both sides of the equation in the first step. So whenever you're solving a problem, you're trying to get whatever's touching the x off. So if I've added, the opposite or the inverse operation is to subtract. So I'm going to subtract 4.8 to create that 0 pair. So when the question asks what number should be subtracted, 4.8 should have been your answer. All right. They wanted you to click all the equations. So the gardener planted 5 rows of vegetables. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. Each row had 3 pepper plants. 1, 2, 3. And some squash plants. We don't know how many there were. We just know there were some in each row. The garden had a total of 20 plants. So which equations could be used to determine the number of squash plants that are in the garden? Well, I know that I have 15 peas, so I know that I have 15 plus 5 s's is going to give me 20, right? So I know that if I distribute 15 plus 5s equals 20. So this one was a correct answer. This one, while it gave me 15, it only gave me 3s. So the second one was out. 15 plus 3s, again, was out. This had all these addition symbols, and that one was incorrect. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times s is 5s equals 20. And again, that was correct. So there were two correct answers, the top and the bottom. All right, what is the solution to the inequality? So I'm going to subtract 7 on each side because my goal is to get rid of whatever was added or subtracted first. So I've got negative 1/2 x is less than or equal to negative 16. Then I'm going to divide by a negative 1/2 on each side. When I divide by a negative number, I'm going to reverse that inequality, and it's going to be 32. So x is greater than or equal to 32, so it should have been B. Alex's water tank held a maximum of 210 gallons, so it could hold up to 210, couldn't go over. It already has 150 in there, and they begin to fill it at 12 gallons per minute. So which solution shows the number of minutes that they can continue to add water without exceeding the amount in there? So I'm going to subtract the 150 first, because that's how much is already in the tank. Then I'm going to divide by 12. And I can go less than or equal to 5 minutes. Because if I go over that 5 minutes, I'm going to have water going everywhere. All right, they want me to solve this next one. So I'm going to add 6 to each side. Signs are different, so I'm actually going to subtract, and I get negative 21 is greater than 3y. I'm going to divide by 3. Y is less than negative 7. And even though I have a negative here, the 3 is positive, so I didn't divide by a negative number. The 21's negative, so I don't reverse my inequality. So y is less than negative 7. So my answer should have been A. Number 9 says that Janet rented a golf cart for $15 plus the 16 per hour. That tells me where my variable goes. So 15 plus the $16 per hour, and in total I spent 111. So when I look, I can flip-flop this stuff around, but I know that I have to have a positive 15 and a positive 16H. So I know that my answer is going to be C. Next one. So 2/3 x minus 6 equals 12. So then I'm going to add 6 to each side. So I have 2/3 x equals 18. From there, I'm going to divide by 2/3 on each side because I want to get that variable by itself. So x equals, and in my calculator I can just do 18 divided by 2/3 because you had access to a calculator, and I got 27. All right, for this one, this was the one that was messed up, and if you didn't get it right, I actually gave you credit for it regardless, but I'm going to show you the correct answers here anyway. 5/11 is a repeating decimal. 9/10 is terminating. 9/5 is terminating. 11/12 is repeating. 7/14 is terminating, and 48/3 is actually terminating because 3 goes into 48 evenly. All right, Henry worked 5.5 weeks at summer camp. He earned $250 per week after taxes. So I'm going to start with that 5.5. I'm going to actually change it to a decimal just to make myself happier. I like to have decimals, so I'm going to multiply that by 250 because I want to know how much he earned altogether. So 5.5 times 250. So he earned a total of $1,375. So $1,375. So he saved 2/5 of his money and spent the rest. So they want to know how much money from his earnings did he spend. So if I save 2/5, that means I'm going to spend 3/5 of my money. Okay, so I could set up a table if I wanted, spent and total. If I wanted to, I don't have to. 3 out of every $5. Divided by 5. And then multiplied by 1,375. So 6/10 times 1,375. And I got $825. Or I could have used the fact that I know that that 3/5 times 1,375 will give me that same $825. All right, they wanted us to use the distributive property to show the next step. So 4/5 times x is going to give me 4/5 x. And then 4/5 times a negative 10. So I know it can't be A, and I know it can't be C because I'm multiplying a positive times a negative. So 4 times 10 is 40, divided by 5 is 8. So -8 equals 20. So my answer was B. You also had access to a calculator, so you just had to multiply 4/5 times -10. All right, for this one, we're going to multiply. So we've got 2x and then 2 times 9/4. So 18/4 gives me 4.5. Is greater than or equal to 3. So I'm going to subtract 4.5. And I get 2x is greater than or equal to a negative 1.5. I'm going to divide by 2. X is greater than or equal to, even though I'm dividing, I'm not, and the numerator is a negative, the 2 is positive, so I'm not going to reverse my inequality. I get 0.75. Which is 3/4. So I know that it's greater than, so my answer should have been C. Last one. If I multiply by 5, I know I'm going to have to divide by 5 on each side. So x equals -4/5. Or you could have told me that x equals -8/10. Either answer would have been accepted. If you have any questions at all, please let me know before you retake. I want to make sure that you completely understand what you're doing before you tackle this test again. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.